My wife passed away just before last Thanksgiving. It came out of nowhere and I am somewhat broken. To make it worse, my stepkids have decided that since I'm not their father, they don't have to obey me anymore. They are teens and they have never been my biggest fans. They love their dad and I was only ever their mom's husband. However, when Dina was alive, they treated our home well and me with respect. After she died, they became a holes. Yes, I know their mom died. It sucks. But that was my wife and the mother of my children. I am also having a tough time dealing. Their paternal grandparents are also shitting on me for not being more understanding of all they are going through. I have tried. I have offered them counseling. I have given them space. I have been there for them. I am at my wit's end. The last straw was when we were over there for supper last week. I said it was time to go so I could get the littles to bed. My stepkids said that they didn't want to go and that I should leave them and come back for them. It is a 2-hour drive. I said no. Their grandparents said I was being too hard on them and that I should let them stay. I am having a hard time with 2 small children, the loss of my wife and 2 teenage holes without having my in-laws pile on to make my life more difficult. So I did. I also packed up their stuff. Instead of coming back for them, I dropped off their stuff at their grandparents' house. I have 2 kids under 5 to take care of. I don't really have time to baby 2 teens that are just making my life harder. My house is clean for the first time in weeks. My kids are sleeping through the night. My stepkids are living with their uncle in the same city as me so they can finish high school with their friends. Everyone on their dad's side is against me. I really don't care. I was told by both of them and by their father that I am not to try and parent them. So I'm not. I actually do not have any parental rights over them. Their dad was not even okay with me being a contact for them at school. So his parents bear the contact. My wife left behind a small life insurance policy which I will divide between the 4 kids. But I was the breadwinner in my house. I bought pretty much everything there for the last 8 years. So now it's all mine. My in-laws are calling me in a hole for abandoning the kids, but I have 2 kids that need me more. The older 2 have a dad as well as grandparents to help them. My kids do too, I guess, but they also have me and I want them to have a peaceful home. Comment 1. I am probably going to be the minority, but I think NTA. They have lost their mum, absolutely right, so you would expect trouble and playing up etc., but what I don't understand is why their dad has not swooped in. If you were such a hindrance, where is he? As long as everyone is happy, including all kids and yourself, I wouldn't fret about anything, as I cannot see what you have done wrong here. You haven't left them on the streets, you have left them with family and they are happy. If daddy is so worried, he can step in, can't he? Comment 2. NTA. If what you say is true and you've done everything within your power to help them grieve and transition going forward without their mom, then what else can you do? It sucks the other 2 kids losing that day-to-day contact with their siblings, but it may be better for all involved, especially if the teens hold contempt for the little ones. If their father wasn't willing to step up right away, then that says a lot about the dad and the in-laws, in my opinion. Wash your hands of that family, as they will only try to harm you going forward. Comment 3. They're lashing out especially because the usual buffer between them and OP's gone. Yes, they're teenagers, but their paternal grandparents should recognize OP is dealing with losing his wife while raising their 2 young kids, not to mention during the Christmas season, traditionally family-oriented at time the family is very fragmented. The grandparents should have been the ones to step in to try temper their grandchildren, or the father. They can't get mad at OP for dropping parental responsibility when everyone has made it clear they don't see OP as being in a parental position for the teenagers. It's abundantly clear OP is only tolerated as a resource rather than as a person who is grieving. But he doesn't even have any support person he mentions. I am 44, have a 19-year-old son who I will refer to as Max. Max has always been slightly overweight, not fat but not skinny either, weighing around 250 pounds at 6 feet 4 inches. He was incredibly active in high school, playing football as well as wrestling for his school. He has always been a little embarrassed by his extra chub but has been slowly growing more and more confident as he has gotten older, which has been incredibly encouraging to watch. My 39F sister, who I will call Beth, and I have never had a strong relationship. During our childhood she was often given preferential treatment due to minor health conditions she had, which led to her constantly tormenting me until I was finally able to move out at 18. After I moved I went limited contact with all family. However, when I began to have children my wife encouraged me to try to be more involved with family for the sake of my kids. My children became very close with my nieces and nephews over the years, so I continued to keep the peace for the sake of my kids. All of this leads to today, my niece's 22nd birthday. Of course my family attended the party which was held at Beth's house. In the beginning everything was going fine. The kids were spending time with their cousins while my wife and I were enjoying the party as well. Max was sitting on the couch in the living room playing a game on his cousin's Xbox along with his younger cousin when Beth decided to provide the unwanted comment of, "You know, Max, if you spent a little less time on those video games, you could probably drop a few pounds. Maybe find yourself a girlfriend." The party fell quiet as Max sat there embarrassed by Beth's comments. I responded to Beth by saying, "Don't be ridiculous, this is a party. We're all sitting around eating and drinking, having a good time. Why are you trying to embarrass him?" To which she replied, "I wasn't trying to embarrass him, I was just trying to offer him some advice. It's not my fault he's so sensitive." After I heard that I snapped back at Beth saying, "Who the duck do you think you are to be giving my son advice about his weight? Max goes for a run every morning and works as a carpenter. When was the last time you climbed a flight of stairs?" Beth, looking offended, snarled, "Good Lord, I was just trying to help him out and you insult me like that. You always did have an anger issue. I feel bad for you, wife." After that I snapped. I yelled back, "You're just a fat witch who tried to embarrass my son in front of all our family just so you could get some attention. Then you have the balls to try and insult me? Go duck yourself, you stupid witch." After that my wife and kids and I all left. Since then my phone has been bombarded with texts and calls from family members telling me to apologize. I spoke to my wife about it, and while she agrees Beth was out of line for saying what she said, I took it too far and need to apologize to Beth and my niece for causing a scene on her birthday. Comment 1, NTA Nope. You went low contact for a reason, and being around them because of the children is not the answer. Remind yourself why you went low contact, then ask yourself, why are you exposing your children to people that did those things? No apology would be coming from me. Family does not mean they can say whatever they want, treat you however you want, or be toxic. Family is not everything. Comment 2. YTA. You have a son who is insecure about his weight but use someone's weight to insult them in front of him. If he sees you calling your sister fat as an insult, then he's going to come to the conclusion that you see being overweight as bad and feel the same about him. There were significantly better ways to go about defending him that wouldn't have also hurt your son in the process. Comment 3. I'm curious as to why your wife is so defensive of your family and their mistreatment of you. I'm also curious as to why she would want to expose her children to people that have a record of being verbally abusive to you, and now her own kid. Why is this better for your kids? Isn't it better to show your kids what boundaries look like, even with family? Healthier lesson than, well, it's family so they get to treat you however they like. I cannot for the life of me figure out this logic when spouses go here. Why isn't she on your side? Why does she want her children exposed to a dysfunctional family that blames you when you stick up for your kid, and makes this witch the victim? The way I would have gotten to this first had an in-law said this to my kid. This doesn't make sense to me. 24F. I'm very unpleased about the whole situation. My childhood best friend Libby, 22F, has a red-tailed black cockatoo named Carrot Cake. She's had him since she was 5. So she is very attached to him. Only went to a community college, to just stay home and near Carrot Cake. All of our mutual friends love Carrot Cake, so do I. We all used to just hang out at Libby's house, mostly when we were kids, just to be by Carrot Cake. My boyfriend Lincoln, 26M, Loves birds. He owned a few small ones. I did tell him about carrot cake. He did get really intrigued and interested. He wanted to meet carrot cake. We only been dating for 2 months at this point and haven't met Libby. Only a few of my other friends. He did ask questions. I assumed he was only intrigued and didn't think much of it. Libby did ask me to watch carrot cake, as she is visiting her grandparents in another state. I did agree. This wasn't my first time. Libby dropped carrot cake off and he's been doing great. He's very loving, been very active. I let him fly around. I did invite Lincoln over, as he was staying the night. He did invite his best friend Maxon. Both were playing games and doing their own thing. I was napping during the whole thing. Until I heard loud squatting and wings flapping like crazy. I woke up and walked into my office, to see Lincoln trying to grab carrot cake. Maxon was standing there just watching. It was very obvious that carrot cake was stressed. I scolded at both of them, asking why they were in my office and why are they bothering carrot cake. Lincoln told me he wanted to hold carrot cake. I told him he is not familiar with you or Maxon, so he is scared. Lincoln tried to argue, but I told him to go in the living room. I told Maxon to leave. I had made sure carrot cake was okay, and he was. I put him in his cage and made sure to cover his cage, so he can sleep. I locked my office at this point and had the keys in my room with me. I told Lincoln not to go into my office without me. I just went back to sleep and asked Lincoln go to sleep. So we both did. I woke up to my boyfriend gone and my keys misplaced. I did try calling him, he didn't answer my phone call. I went to check on carrot cake to see he was not there. I freaked out and just knew Lincoln had him. I called and texted him until he answered. I told him to please tell me he has carrot cake and he did. I asked why and he said he wanted to watch carrot cake for a day. I just hung up and drove to his house. Once I got there I knocked like crazy and told him to open it. He opened a little bit, but I barged in and got carrot cake. Lincoln was just telling me I couldn't barge in. I just walked by him and drove back home. I did tell Libby about the whole thing and she was grateful. I got carrot cake back safely. But also very distraught about the whole situation. Lincoln and his friends did message me that I couldn't just barge into someone's house. I feel like I did the right thing too. Comment 1. NTA but your boyfriend is terrifying, like this is such weird behavior. I know terrifying is a little dramatic, but the way he deliberately waited until you were asleep to kidnap a bird? That's so weird and also so stupid. There's no way he wouldn't get caught. I would never trust him again. This is such insidious and oafish behavior. He sounds slimy, sneaky and dumb. You need to run. Comment 2. NTA. He was literally told that the bird isn't familiar to him, and then he steals the bird? He stresses a poor innocent bird twice, from trying to grab carrot cake as a stranger and forcibly shifting the bird into a new environment, ignored your attempts to explain that the bird is stressed as well as your request for him not to enter the office without you, literally stole someone else's bird, then has the audacity to scold you instead. Please break up with him OP. He's shown so many red flags with his actions. I, 17, have a brother, 21, who had a baby about 2 years ago. Him and his girlfriend, at the time, had a beautiful baby boy. With their better judgment they let this awesome couple adopt him. When I tell you this couple is top tier, they are. The issue is my brother. He's very emotionally immature. Recently we've gotten into a fight that's left me indifferent towards him. I love him, I do, he's my brother, but after having an estranged relationship with my father, I'm not necessarily tolerant to whiny men. I won't go into details about the things my brother said to me during our fight, but I will say a lot of it had to do with me. Anyways, we planned a trip to visit my nephew months ago. This is my first time meeting the little guy, so I've been very excited. I put in a request for the day off as soon as I heard, but I have been a little nervous thinking about being in the car with my brother for 3 hours. I was also worried he would bring up the situation with his ex to the parents. Him and the baby's mother split, and because my brother is my brother, it was a nasty break. This is another issue that brings me and him to butt heads because he seems to forget his ex is still the mother to his child. This is worrisome because the parents are really nice, clean people. My family is on the rougher side, we're lower class with addiction all over, so you can imagine why I'm anxious. The problem is this morning, I'm writing this on the way BTW, my brother wouldn't wake up. We told him he needed to be ready by 7 a.m. because it's 3 hours away and we wanted to visit some shops while we're up there. We texted him, called him, nothing. My mom was bent out of shape, she's scared that it will cause a big fight. I, on the other hand, was relieved. He lives 30 minutes in the other direction of our destination, and while we had started the drive my mom got nervous and said, should we turn around and go get him? I said no. She fretted over the fact that it's his son, but I reminded her that he is being irresponsible for not being awake. Hell, I even had 5 alarms set staring at 5 so I would be awake. It's not our responsibility to keep track of him. It's now 8 and we still haven't gotten a response. We're already an hour and some change away from home, so there's nothing we can do now, but am I the a-hole for insisting we leave without him? Edit. So my brother called. He said he didn't know why he slept over, asked me if we knocked and I told him the truth. My mom told me to lie, but I'm not about that. Told him we didn't come because we didn't get a response and he hung up. Yes, I feel bad that we didn't show up, but honestly I'm happy with just me and my mom. I guess I'll just have to apologize to him and hope God will forgive me. Sometimes you choose things in your best interests. Next time I'll bite my young and knock on the door. Comment 1. NTA. He had the date and time. He knew when he needed to be ready by to receive a lift. If he didn't like the schedule, he could have discussed before the day, or arranged his own way there. Making people wait way past the agreed time is rude, regardless of the reason for the trip. Though I do suspect he might actually just be too much of a coward to face his son, or in no way inclined to, not his problem anymore. Comment 2. Stop worrying about your brother. Don't invite him or include him in your plans with your nephew again. The parents are willing and open to you and your family. Show them who to trust and who not to. Don't tell them, show them. Also, don't call yourself low class. You have 1,000,000 times more class than a lot of people, honey. Also, please realize that if your brother doesn't want a relationship, that's okay too, and not on you or your mom. NTA. Comment 3. YTA, I wouldn't have texted or called him. The agreement seemed to be that you would be at his house at 7, but you weren't. I realize there is a bad history here, so maybe you wanted to check first, but you didn't do what you said you would. I would have just gone to his house at the appointed time. He could have been in the shower, putting out the garbage, anything, and missed the calls/texts. If he wasn't ready, he probably could have been in 10 minutes. You admitted you were anxious about being in the car with him, so I think as soon as you had an excuse to leave him behind, you did. I get it. It's human nature and we've all done it.